for this conference, my overall approach was to try to start with the basics. I invited speakers that I felt, it was a tough choice because there were so many to choose from, but I wanted people who were key, could cover key areas, and the topic I asked them to speak on was more tailored towards a sort of a foundation course, sort of a ufology 101, to lay the basics for justifying a serious consideration of this topic.
So we're standing right now on pretty much the exact spot of where the 1975 Travis Walton incident occurred. I first came here about 4 years ago, about 2012 with Travis, and he hadn't been here in many years. And it was really exciting because we can take you back to the exact same place where it happened. Things have changed a little bit. Behind me is the old logging road. So there's a tree over here, kind of two twin trees, and right along there is this old logging road that's kind of grown over now. That's where the truck stopped. The crew was heading south, coming out, and it was probably about the same time of night as we're looking right now. Tonight is November 5th, 2014, and it's the 39th anniversary. We're actually coming up on the exact same time. So you can kind of see the twilight, kind of what they were experiencing about the same time. The sun had just gone down, and the crew came upon this craft, which is pretty much right where I was standing, hovering only about maybe 20 feet or so in the air, about 25 feet in diameter. So when we've been here with Travis several times, we've tried to pinpoint the exact location where this was, and the way we've been able to do that is by looking at where the trees have been sampled from previous research, where the core sampling has taken place. And that's placed just right about here, give or take no more than probably 40 feet or so. We think that about this point is where Travis came upon the craft. He was, the truck was down here, the crew's yelling at him to get back in, and he's crouched kind of behind some of these pilings of wood, and that's where he was, staring up about a 45-degree angle, looking at the craft. And it was about that time he decided, as he's hearing the gears or whatever this bassy noise is inside of the craft, that it was time to get out. And he turned back to the truck, so he would have been going this way back. From then on, he doesn't remember anything until actually being inside the craft. The crew comes along this road when they took off, and went as fast as they could. You can see the road is kind of bumpy. The Forest Service had put in what they call these thank you ma'ams, and they're kind of basically built up pieces of mounds of dirt. And I believe the purpose was to kind of control flooding and things like that, but also to block roads. But they hit these things pretty hard as fast as they were going, and went up to just not quite the rim road, I think is what we determined, before they stopped and realized they should turn around and see if he's still here. And this is ground zero for the search as well. This is where the 5-day search began. This is where we did our recent field study. We spent a whole day. We went through here, we did metal detecting scans, we did radiation scans, we did a magnetic ground survey, and just trying to see, number one, if anything has changed, if there's anything left over from decades ago. Number two, from here on out, we want to make sure that our future research, we have a baseline. And number three, if people do now start coming here, and if they had, bad intentions of trying to hoax something or plant something, we know that pretty much we've sterilized the air, we know what's here.
Last night I approached the whole idea of being there at night on the exact anniversary. It was even a Wednesday again, with a little bit of apprehension, but Came off without much more excitement than a very big meteor flash while I was speaking, but it was definitely something that brought back some of that feeling that I had in the early days. You know, my more recent interpretations of what happened as being more benign than I once thought has really helped me feel more at ease talking about it. So, and that wasn't the purpose, that wasn't the intention in coming to the conclusion that they were probably actually trying to revive me, but a little, you know, unexpected benefit to that realization is that it did make it less stressful to talk about. You know, I can still recall the extreme terror and stress from those days, but it's with a little bit different flavor than it used to be. The sheriff's office, the jail, the courthouse, all in one building. So had the men failed the lie detector test, they could have never left the building. There was a great deal of anxiety amongst the crew with the idea that there was some kind of an effort to cover it up and that the test would be rigged to make them look like murderers. There was a little bit of an argument about whether they would be allowed to tape record the tests just to prove that things were on the up and up. And the examiner said, no, we're not going to let you do that. And, you know, made them remove the tape recorder from the room. Well, back in the day, of course, there was a great deal of negative emotion directed at us. People didn't want to believe that such a thing could be possible. And so there was quite a bit of grasping any little implausible theory to explain it away. But now, you know, over time, it's taken on a whole different feeling. You know, there's a sort of a trickle-down effect that a lot of the misconceptions are fading away with time. At first, I tried to hide from the media. And that led to all kinds of speculation. Oh, he's got something to hide. And then when I started coming out and talking, oh, he's a publicity seeker. So, you know, you can't win. But it's been a long, hard road. You gotta develop a thick skin, and I know all the jokes. But with accepting the burden, I've come to realize that there's a responsibility to try to bring people around in a way that is in their best interest. I think the future is going to bring things that people should be prepared for psychologically. Skeptics are fond of saying, well, why don't they just land on the White House lawn? If they're really here, just make it known. And obviously, if that were to happen, half the world wouldn't go to work the next day. You know, it would disrupt all kinds of institutions and power structures, and it doesn't need to be. You know, people need to be, just recognize the fact that we're not alone in the universe, and eventually the quarantine will be lifted and open communication with other civilizations will happen.